I have no filter these days. Yeah, it's a fake way of bonding, really.
Unquiet
Soul.
did not go well.
And that was like the straw that broke the camel's back that led to my total emotional breakdown. Thank you, Melissa, for listening to your intuition.
My mom being dead.
And Angie.
Just see you next time.
See you next time. Okay, let's go fast. 1, 2, 3.
Unquiet Soul.
Okay.
Hello, I would like to see your nails.
They're not that exciting. They're just like brown with teal tips.
But is it chrome?
Well, I put like glitter on it because I was like, this looks boring, and then I put like a little bit of glitter on it.
Oh, I
but
like
think
it. Oh,
I
it's
still feel like
boring
it looks
it's
boring.
only 2 colors.
Well, so this is. I feel like this is a continuation. Was it last week we were talking about your hair? Okay, and I related it to my experience with nail art because sometimes I see designs and then I try it and it doesn't turn out the way I want. So I had a design that I saw, I think on Instagram. It was tie-dyed nails.
Oh.
So I got a little too confident in my ability and I was like, oh, I know how to do this. I can figure this out. It was not what I expected at all. And and when I say it looked like shit, it like was so far off that it's like, no, absolutely not. And so this was just kind of like a last minute rush to like just do something or anything that was better than the failed tie-dye attempt.
Yeah.
But now I'm determined to figure out tie-dye because I'm like, I have to actually like Google the technique or something because it was not what I thought it was.
Did you take any pictures of the failed attempt?
I didn't.
Damn it.
Like, it was so gross.
I want to see. It was gross.
Like, you never would have guessed it was supposed to be tie-dye.
I can relate to that. I keep thinking because I have all this nail polish because I, paint my own nails. But I mean, I don't do anything fancy. But like, just sitting down for an hour just feels like, ugh.
Oh, see, I find it therapeutic because I do the whole thing. Like, I give myself a manicure, so I'm like doing all the prep work, and then like the design in itself is a whole thing. So,
Well, I like
I
it when I'm in the middle of it. I think it may be like this is why. I think it may be like a ADHD type thing where I know it's going to take a certain amount of time, so I don't want to start it.
yeah, and I get you on that. And I carve out time. Like, it's usually Sunday afternoons.
Oh, okay.
Like, I
You have a
carve
certain
out
day
the
you
time
usually
to
do
do
it?
it. Because
Okay.
I find if I actually like have blocked time to do something, then it's a priority. Like, so for example, I think I told you before, I surf almost every day, and it's because I make it a priority. Like, I will schedule a block in my calendar in
Yeah.
between my calls or whatever. So I find that helps to actually block out time to do it.
You must have really good product if surfing doesn't just like take it all off of you.
Um, my nail polish.
Yeah.
So I use a good top coat. Have you ever, is it called Seiche or whatever?
Hmm. How do you spell
It's
it?
Here, let me Google it. Because I actually don't like top coat because I don't like the glossy look. But when I started surfing, first of all, my nails went to shit and like my polish like would not stay on.
Yeah.
Um, but this is like any good. Here, I'll just do it. Seche Vitae, like any good nail technician. Here, this is just the Walmart link, but you'll get what I'm. Where is the chats?
Do we have a
Okay.
chat?
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never used it.
But this is like the best top coat ever because even with surfing almost every day, my manicure lasts about 5 solid days before it starts falling apart.
Wow, that's
That's a
crazy.
testament to how amazing this is. Yeah, because people are always like, well, don't you use gel because of
Oh,
surfing? And I hate gel because I don't use acetone on my
yeah.
nails. But this is like the best top coat ever.
Well, if you can surf in it, surely I can wash dishes in it.
Oh,
This
absolutely.
is literally what you
Although,
use, huh?
yeah, I'm huge on nail protection. If for washing dishes, you should just wear gloves. That's what I do.
Ugh, I
So
probably should, but I don't like the way gloves feel. 'cause they
But do you
get,
like
like,
your nails
water in
going to
them and
shit?
stuff, and it just feels gross.
So yeah, I try to do preventative. I know what you're saying. I do preventative measures so I don't get water in my gloves, but I would rather wear like moist gloves than expose my nails to straight up water.
Well, I
That's
mean,
like
that
the
makes
worst
sense
thing you
because 'cause
can
you're
do.
doing, like, tons of
Yeah,
shit
I'm
to your
like big
nails.
on nail care
Yeah,
because
yeah.
even when I'm surfing, because some people like I don't know how to explain it. You're facing the waves to watch them come, but then when it's time to catch it, you have to like pivot quickly to catch it. And so some people like have their hands on the board at all times so they can like turn quick. I'm like, I'm not putting my hands in the water till I have to. I'm
That's
like
so
super
funny.
big on nail care.
Whenever I paid $60 every 2 weeks to get them done, that's how I acted, and even then, I would get a chip, and when I do it, I want them to look perfect. That's the thing, is it really annoys the shit out of me to
I
go
used to be like
spend
that.
money on it, and then, like, 4 days later and listen, I had a phenomenal nail tech, but, like, it just happens, you chip it or whatever, and I would get so pissed to be like, "Uh." So, then I'd be like, "I just can't wash those dishes." My daughter, though, she got her nails painted one time and then it did what she does in the bathtub, like a 2-hour sesh all off, and I
Yeah.
was like,
Oh, of
"Mm,
course.
thank you for having me pay for that, and then you would not listen to me about the bathtub. That's so great."
Because yeah, even like even have you ever done an ice bath? Yeah,
Once.
so the few times that I've done an ice bath, I'll, like, keep my fingernails out of it because 'cause I'm like, "Hell no," and I've had people like because usually there's, like, people, like, hyping you up or whatever, and, like, they're like, "You gotta put your hands in." I'm like, "I'm
Yeah,
not ruining my nails. I will do the ice bath up to my neck or whatever, but I am not putting my nails in
you're like,
this."
you got your hands just above you.
Yeah.
No, hey, priorities are priorities, you know? I can understand that. So what's going on with you this week? Anything exciting?
Not really exciting. I'm getting ready to go on vacation, which that's exciting, but
Yeah, where are you going again? I was just telling my son, I couldn't remember.
Spain and Morocco.
Okay, I got the Morocco part right.
Yeah, and I'm only in Spain for a few days, so
I was
basically
like
Morocco.
I stood there for probably, 45 seconds being like, "The word's not coming to me," and then I was like, "Morocco, she's going to Morocco." And then I could not remember. He goes, "That's in Europe, right?" And I was like, "Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you."
It's in Africa, but it's right across there's the Strait of Gibraltar, it's right across from Spain, and I think I told you I'm taking a ferry, like, that's how easy it is to get there from Europe, and I also might have told you because I took a DNA test, like, years ago, but I'm mostly European, but I'm 12% Moroccan, and that's not totally surprising considering how close Morocco is to Europe, like, there
Right.
could be some yeah.
I was just that's so funny that you brought that up because I was just looking at my, 23 and Me again yesterday. I was looking between that and Ancestry because he was asking me at what point my family came over. And my aunt on my dad's side had always said, now, granted, she was just saying what she heard, but I was annoyed to find that her information was wrong. She had always said it was like my dad's grandpa that came over and switched the last name from O'Brien to Bryans. Now, that may be true,
Yeah.
but it was before 1600 if it happened. So I'm still trying to figure out who came here because so far, 1716, that person was born in like West Virginia. So I have not figured out who it was. But
Uh,
I looked at my 23 and Me again because I was trying to see if any of my new like my dad's side of the family is not uploading a lot of DNA. So like I'm not really surprised. But um mine was before in the old 23andMe database, they just kind of lumped, and they still kind of are, but they kind of lumped British and Irish together more, and they
interesting.
didn't give me like an exact breakdown. Yesterday I looked and it said 75% British and Irish is what I am. And it still didn't say exactly what of what, and I think it's because it's too close, but it did say someone within 2 generations of me was 100% British and Irish, and I was like, "Doesn't that mean someone was incestuous? Or is there enough British and Irish blood to go around?" I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
I don't either because 'cause I'm not like Miss DNA, but I'm
But,
hoping
like,
to find out, like, who came over here because someone had to have come at some point, you know?
yeah, and also the whole name change thing, apparently that was really common, and it wasn't intentional. It was because when people 'cause I apparently you came through the New York harbor,
Yes.
and, back then there wasn't, like, strict processes or documentation, so there was just, like, a person filling out a form, so if someone said O'Brien and maybe they, like, weren't speaking clearly or whatever, and the other
Right.
person just hears Brian, they just write it down. Or, like, if it's, some, like, German names, like, for instance, my mom's family's name is their last name is Stuck,
Oh.
and but my grandpa, where the Stuck came from, he has Dutch ancestry, and so that's not a Dutch name, so it could have been, like, Stukenheimer or something, and
And
then
they
the person
didn't
doesn't know
wanna
they don't know how to spell it, it's too
Yeah.
long to write, so they're just, like, stuck. So there was also a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff happening.
Well, see, and I'm so jealous of my ex-husband's family and my boys because, um, they have on Ellis Island where their family signed the book when they came over, they're Greek and very Greek. And,
Yeah,
so they have, like, so much information about their family history. I mean, granted, they started their search a long time ago, even whenever it was really hard to get those records. But so it's Scophus and it's spelled Scoufos now, but it was with a K back then
yeah.
before they came over. And so it was just really interesting to see like how they got all that information. And I've been to Ellis Island and got to see that for them. And I was like, "Ugh, I want to know when my family came over and where." I don't know if it would have been Ellis Island before 1600. My son, the history
Well,
buff, could have told me, but
yeah, I'm curious about that because I thought that's even if it might not have been actually called Ellis Island, I thought that's where they were funneled through. Because think about it, back then, like, the colonies really weren't developed, right?
yeah,
Or
yeah, I
maybe
mean,
they
I'm
were
sure
just
it wasn't called
starting.
Ellis Island then, but I guess I thought there was a couple of different ports. But it
Maybe,
makes sense
yeah.
that they would have I'm gonna find that out, I'm gonna have to ask him, we're gonna have to follow up on
Yeah,
that
I
'cause
would be
now I'm
curious.
curious. Yeah, I would like to know more, but then as I was blow drying my hair earlier, I was like, "Man, am I not getting more DNA on my dad's side because, like, he wasn't actually my biological father?" And then I was like, "No, because that one person did get DNA." So I,
Uh,
like, let it go really quick, but I was like, "No, there's this one cousin on his side that," because when I found them on Ancestry, I had about 24 hours of communication, and then I was like, "You know what? I have enough of this in my life right now." Like, I don't
oh, was it drama?
a little bit, yeah. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, "I don't need to invite more of this shit in my
Yeah.
life at all."
Well, those are good boundaries.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've always been okay, if I'm being 100% honest, okay, I didn't have an unquiet confession for this week that I actually wanted to talk about on air, so I'll say this. If I'm being
Okay.
100% honest, I've always said I was scared that I would find a sibling because my history with siblings hasn't been great.
Mm,
Um, but the truth is I hold out hope that I'm gonna find a sibling that's like more like me. Like
yeah.
my sisters are and they live 15 minutes from me, but they grew up together and so they just don't, like, include me, you know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they do to a point, like, when our kids were little, the younger but not youngest sister, like, we went to each other's kids' birthday parties and stuff like that, but they just I don't know, like, they kinda blew me off at Thanksgiving this last year, and they just don't I love them so much, and listen, I haven't been, like, a active participant. I'm realizing it through the healing that I put so many walls even between my siblings and me. So like I
Yeah.
caused a lot of it, but yet now I'm like trying and they're busy and they don't want to hang out with me. You know what
What
I
is the
mean?
birth order?
Okay. So I have an oldest brother who
Okay.
my dad had with his first, I think they were married, I don't know, but they were babies. His name is Jason. And then my dad got with my mom and had my older brother, me, my younger brother, Willie, Josh. Then
Okay.
years later, so my sister Sarah is 8 years younger than me and Cassie's 10 years younger than me. And they were born with, the 3rd wife, and that's who
Yeah,
he was with and living with when he
got
died.
it. And and I'm not saying it's right, but it does make sense because it's almost like totally separate family
Oh,
units.
100 it was totally
First of all
separate, yeah.
yeah, first of all, because of the age gap, but also the fact that you just were living separately and being raised separately.
Yeah, well, and, they're trauma bonded, we're trauma bonded, like, it is
Yeah.
what it is, you know what I mean? And then so my oldest brother and I were, because I didn't meet him until I was 14.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, because he was, like, elusive. It was like, "Yeah, you have this older brother, he's really cool and popular," and he lived in a different state. But I met him at his graduation, for the first time that I met him. My dad and stepmom and me and my older brother, Willie, we all took a little road trip to Arkansas to see him graduate, and, it was really cool, and I did think he was so cool and popular, and, I was like, "He's handsome." I like that I have, like, handsome older brothers because somehow that makes me I don't know. So then we tried, especially after my dad died, we just kind of started developing a relationship slowly. And I loved where our relationship got to. Like he would call me he went, his mom died, even before my mom died. So of cancer, and he had been like 6 credits away from a degree and just burned it to hell because he lost his fucking mind, which
Oh,
good
yeah.
reason. And then he went into plumber school, and so every Thursday after school, he would call me and we would talk about ER because I would have just watched that week's episode, and we were
Yeah.
both super into it. And I just really it was a sweet relationship. And then when my best friend and I both went through a divorce at the same time, she ends up meeting my brother, and they got together, and really it ruined our relationship. Like, we don't really have one, because when I go visit them, it's not him I'm hanging out with, really. You know what I mean?
Not really, like, how did it like, were you upset about them getting together
A little
or,
bit.
like,
I
what
was a
did
little bit upset. I didn't necessarily like it. It was weird because there was stuff because
would it be
there's
similar to, like,
there's
if
just stuff
I
I
have a
can't
friend
say.
here and a friend there, and they mate each other and become best friends, and then I feel like
Yeah,
I'm kind of
yeah. I mean,
okay,
Angie, you're a
then it does
Leo
make
moon.
sense
My
to me.
Leo moon ass was railing. Like it was, I
Yeah.
mean, so much of it was my fault. But then as I tried to like let go of that and like, how can you ask to divide your time between when you don't see either of them very much? And then just as
Yeah.
the time's gone on, which has been a lot of years now, um, we just, it's just not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that does make sense then, yeah.
So, I mean, that one was devastating for me because I don't know, brothers are men and like I had daddy issues, so I wanted, you know what I'm saying? It
Yeah,
was a
like, you wanted
thing.
his attention. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, and protection. Like,
Yeah.
if you have an older brother who's gonna look out for you, you're safe kind of thing.
I know I can resonate with that because I don't have an older brother, but I always wanted one, and I was always jealous of my friends who had older brothers because I just happened to always have friends with older brothers who were protective, and I'm like, "Oh,
Exactly.
that sounds nice."
Exactly. Well, and I had that with Willie until he had his psychotic break. Like,
So,
he was so
also there was, like, abandonment almost
yeah,
because
I
it's like
felt
you had it
abandoned
and
by
then it
Jason, absolutely, I
yeah,
did, because it felt very much like he didn't give a shit about me anymore.
yeah,
I was going to get over the fact that, like, y'all like each other? Like that there's some fun in that. But the way it happened, there was just yes, there was like a lot of abandonment feelings. And I'm not saying
yeah,
that that was anyone's intention, like I'm not upset. I love like I have nieces and nephews, not that I really like see them very much or whatever, and that again is my fault. I put boundaries between me and children too because I didn't want to get hurt. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, I mean, I probably am closer to them than any of the other ones, but I just pushed everyone away for so long without even realizing it. But
Yeah.
so I mean, I can even see my role in all of it, but still, like, you know, little old fairy tale over here, like, "Oh, that would be so cute if a normal sibling popped up on 23andMe." Not gonna happen, but I mean, my daddy was a whore, but the chances of that person, showing up and being like someone I want in my life, pretty slim. And then it
Yeah.
didn't help that one of my best friends, had some, baby daddy drama, like she was the baby and, mom wasn't necessarily truthful about some things. And
Mm.
so she found her biological dad on 23andMe a couple years after he passed. It was very sad. But she got
Yeah,
all
that's
these like
crazy.
siblings that like are good people. And I was like,
Oh,
a little
really?
jealous about that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's
I need to
crazy.
go. I think that's where I did my DNA test. I've never, like, actively check it or anything.
I did it more for the health stuff because I don't have because since both my parents died before 40, I just didn't I don't know a lot about
Mm.
like our history. And I hate to say this. I don't hate to say this. I hate to say this where this many people are going to hear me. Let me be honest. Well, cuz a lot of people are going to listen to our show.
I
Um
know,
but
billions.
I always tell medical providers that, like, all of my health history is pretty white trash washed to where it's like they had a mistrust in the medical system in the only way a white trash person can have a mistrust in the medical system, and it was stuff I saw in hospice a lot, but it's like, you know, um you have, like, a conversation about withdrawal of care because, like, they're brain dead or whatever,
Mm, yeah,
and, that doctor killed him, it's shit like that, so, like, that's the type of stuff I was taught, but what I do know is that, like, my grandma died of well, it was either colon or liver. They didn't bother figuring out the origin because she was way far gone before they found it.
yeah,
My suspicion is colon just because she had been a smoker for so long and took ibuprofen like it was candy. And then my aunt, my latest aunt who passed, she had I wasn't around her because she was in isolation 'cause she didn't want people to know she was sick, I guess. She didn't even go to the doctor. But, it sounds like hers was liver, and then I know another one of my aunts got liver cancer. So, I
okay,
started to get really nervous because, like, that aunt died of liver cancer too. So, I was like, "Oh god, what is going on?" And so I wanted to know some of my cancer risks and whatever. Was not
yeah,
happy to find out I'm, like, 2 twice the likelihood of getting late set Alzheimer's, but in other ways, I was glad my grandma had started to show signs of it. In other ways, I was kinda glad because, like, I used to take Benadryl for sleep, and my doctor, once we knew this, she's like, "You shouldn't anyway, but you really shouldn't," because, like, they showed
why?
links between,
Really?
high levels of Benadryl use and Alzheimer's.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But also with health, like, there is a genetic component, but for instance, Alzheimer's, like, it's been shown, like, being active
Mhm.
or doing, like, brain puzzles
Yeah,
to
staying
technically.
engaged.
Yeah, so, like, there are things you can do, like, that's not your sentence
Well, and I'm
just because
really
you're at higher
hoping
risk.
that both cancer and that I mean, there has been a link to stress with both of those things. So,
Yeah,
I'm really
agree.
hoping that, like, if the fact that I have learned to be present and grounded and in the moment and not living in survival mode, which my grandma lived every minute of every day in, you know what I
Exactly,
mean?
yeah.
And so did my aunts,
Oh,
truly.
I mean, I think my personal opinion is stress is at the root of most diseases.
Agree, agree. Stress, trauma that you haven't dealt with, I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, I did buy, like, a medical intuitive book, I haven't cracked it open yet, but someone recommended it, but, yeah, I've really started hearing different things about, like, healing medical stuff through emotional and spiritual work, and I understand that some people think that's crazy, but I'm like, yeah, there's gotta be a reason that some people experience some of this stuff and some people don't.
yeah, or, have you read You Can Heal Your Life?
I don't know, I
by
haven't
Louise
read it, but
Hay.
I was
Oh.
thinking, was that the book I bought? But I don't think so.
Yeah, but did she have cancer? Like, I can't remember her backstory, but there's also this guy, he is in the inventor of one of the original brands of kombucha. Like, his mom got cancer in, like, the '80s, and they lived in California, which California's always been a little more progressive than
Yeah.
the rest of the United States, so she learned about kombucha, and she basically healed her cancer through kombucha, and that's how he started his business, but there's, like, so many, like, anecdotal
Yes.
pieces of evidence to show that that's true.
Well, and I mean, I remember hearing the stories about like somebody being given no hope and then went on a completely like vegan situation and
Yeah.
only whole foods, like organic, all of that and got better. So I mean, I do know there's a lot out there that's not tapped into. I don't sit around worrying about it, like especially now that I'm so spiritual, I truly am like whatever's supposed to happen is gonna happen. I mean, I'm gonna try to be more proactive about my health,
Yeah.
but also, like, I mean, I'm not totally, like, giving up. I'm just saying, like, I used to worry about that stuff, and I don't anymore.
Same. Because 'cause I'm at the point. Because sometimes people, when I surf, they're like, "Aren't you worried about sharks?" And I'm like, "I'm kind of at the point in my life where if I get attacked by a shark and die, then that's how I die." Like, I'm not gonna worry about it every time I surf.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, and I mean, I was like a really bad catastrophic thinker, like
Oh,
every
same.
single worst case
Same.
scenario. Okay, that's nice to hear because not everybody like admits that shit. So like, well, let me just be honest. My very first thought when you were like, "Yeah, I'm going to do such and such," to do all these crazy things to get to where you want to go, my initial instinct was, "That's so dangerous," because that's what my brain does, and
Yeah.
I'm learning still actively to work through that where I'm like, "No, that's just your brain that wants to keep you alive," so what's also true is that most people don't die from doing that, you know what I mean? But, like,
Yeah.
I got into the ocean for the very first time, not this past summer, but last summer. um, I've been afraid of sharks since I was, like, 5 and watched Jaws, and when I
I was
say
just that's why
afraid.
everyone is afraid
Yeah.
of sharks.
Well, we were allowed
Everyone.
to watch that shit way too young, and it was traumatic, and they made it seem like literally it could be in your lake. I mean, and you could not convince me that a shark wouldn't be in the lake. You know what like, once I
Yeah.
got old enough to truly understand the difference between the types of water, then I got better. But, like, even still, I was like, I'm not g like, people be like, "Yeah, but they're far out," and I'm like, "Did you fucking watch Shark Week? That bitch was right there in fucking ankle deep water, the fuck?"
And that's another thing, like, there are other things now, like Shark Week, but Jaws was definitely the origin. They should do, like, a psychology experiment because so many people cite being afraid of sharks as Jaws
Yes, and it was a little healing to watch it as an adult because it was so fucking stupid, but,
and
like
fake, yeah.
but as a child but see, like, I think it just goes to show, like, all of the stuff that I was not just allowed, but encouraged to watch as a child, like, The Shining,
Oh,
all of the
yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street, all of Friday the 13th, all of
And
that
would you
shit.
watch it before you went to bed? That's what my sister and I
Yes!
do,
And I
and
was
then we would be
terrified.
scared all night, yeah.
Oh my god, yes, and, something too that I started asking people in adulthood was, "Were you afraid to go to the bathroom?" Because I don't know, I was trying to figure out which movie fucked me up so bad that I was so afraid to go to the bathroom when I was, like, scared
It could
because of
it
a
could have been
movie.
any of
Oh,
them.
yeah,
They
all
were
of them had something, you
And they
know?
were I remember they were so gory. I don't think movies are as gory as they used to be, but, like,
Not in the way that they were then, no. I mean, I think the Saw was, but see, I can handle that now much more than I could, and I choose not to watch them now, but in
yeah.
adulthood, I did watch because my grandma loved horror movies, we watched the first 3 Saws together at her house. Like, what the fuck? But anyway, I was super into that, but I used to just think, like I knew all of the ways you could die at doing any given thing, I'd be like, "No, you could die
Yeah.
because da 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 da." And so now I'm, like, working really hard, like, we like camping. That's something that, like, I've started to do again because I have to rid myself of the catastrophic thinking. But, like, we live where there's a wildlife refuge pretty close, and so I had as a teenager, camped there a lot, but I had encounters with buffalo. Nothing happened, nothing, because 'cause they're so used to us
What could
being
happen?
around.
They charge at you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but also, even though this isn't rational, my brain tells me that they might just, like, eat me.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing about wild animals. They're so, like, unpredictable,
Mhm.
and anything could happen at any time. Because another thing I've done, I've swam cageless with sharks, and it could have actually been a peaceful experience because they're it that sharks are actually very calm and peaceful in the water because they're just
They're in
swimming,
their element.
and they also swim slow, like, you know how, like, when you see fish in aquarium, they're usually like this, and it's kind of, like, anxiety inducing or but, like, sharks are very graceful, they're very slow, so there is a calming aspect to it, but it's also terrifying because that can change in a heartbeat, and they can start fucking shit up immediately,
Yeah.
and you're very aware of that.
Well, another thing I worry about is that animals in general will pick up on the fact that my heart is beating much faster
Yeah,
than normal and just
and
murder
they
me.
do. Well, that's what I asked when we were swimming with sharks because I was terrified, and I'm like, "Can they sense that?" And they were like, "Yeah."
I and listen, this is the thing, because my older brother, my dad had pit bulls, and we were not really around them. They kept them in a back room when we visited, but
Oh,
one
so they were,
day,
like, vicious.
yeah, well, they weren't to them, but they were to people they didn't know, and this particular dog had gotten really aggressive after having a litter of puppies, and so they kept them in the back, and one day, my brothers didn't wait until my stepmom got the door all the way closed, and she got out, chased them down, and ended up just from a quick little bite on my brother's calf, just took it off, basically. I mean, that it was
Oh my
fucking
god.
awful, okay? Now, I wasn't there, I was with my dad at my aunt's house, we had to rush home from it. But that was traumatic for me, and I've never been able to let it go. So, me and pit bulls have a really, really scary
But just pit
relationship.
bulls, not other dogs.
Other big dogs, yes. But I'm getting better with other big dogs, like, as long as the introduction isn't them greeting at the door barking, and they come in, like, I just wanna be seated with their mom and dad to where when they come in, they see, like, mom and dad like this person, whatever, and then I can let them come and sniff me, and then if they'll just chill or want love, like, if they come for love, we're besties immediately, but if they
Yeah,
just chill, I can calm enough to be in the same room with them, but pit bulls, I cannot. I'm working so hard on it because I hate the fear, but I do at least have love for them now. Like, I can see them
yeah,
wagging their tail and, just as long as there's a barrier between us, like, I'm fine. But, like, looking at them, I'm like, they are precious and they are sweet, but you can't make my brain shut the fuck off when I'm in a room with
yeah,
one. And every single time, this was one of the things that really pushed me over the edge of hospice, to be honest, because I'd be in a house and I would ask politely. It got to where, like, it was hard for me to even ask them to put their dog away, but I would ask, they wouldn't. That dog never hurt anyone. And then guess what? They picked up on
yeah,
my shit and they'd be growling at me and they'd be like, "That, what do you do?" And then they'd be getting aggressive with the dog because the dog's behaving like this. And the dog's looking at me like, you did this. And I'm like, oh my God. Now, some of that may just be a perception because I was terrified,
yeah,
but it happened every fucking time. And I was like,
yeah.
okay, people like their dogs too much because if somebody was this afraid of my dog, I would just put the dog up. Like,
I actually think more people should have a healthy fear of domesticated dogs because I see so many people who will just go up and pet someone else's dog, and it's like, you have no idea how
uh-huh.
that dog feels about strangers. Like, I
Right.
love dogs, but I don't just go up and pet other people's dogs, and even if they tell me it's okay to pet them, I'll let the dog sniff me out before I even put hands on it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've seen so many things that could have been avoided just if you had had respect for the fact that it's an
Yeah,
animal. It's an animal.
yeah,
Like, and even what did help me some is, my son had heard about, barrier aggression and that, a lot of times they're just barking because they're behind that barrier and because
Oh,
they
I've
can
heard
sound
of
so
that, yeah.
vicious. And so I've gotten better about not feeling like I'm about to die just because that would I would be running in our like, that's one of the reasons I've never really been a neighborhood runner because it scared the shit out of in our old house, it just felt like someone's dog was always on the fucking loose, and they were always the
Yeah.
scary kind. Here, we've lived here 6 years, I've never seen a dog on the loose, actually, unless it was fucking mine or the person across the street, like, our little tiny ass dogs that are little bitches. So I'm not as afraid, but, there are times whenever if how ferocious they can sound when they're barking behind a fence, but I'm getting better
Oh,
about, like,
yeah.
calming and being safe in those situations because I'm like, "It's just barrier aggression, that's fine." If they did break out, because that was my fear, I would be envisioning them chewing
Uh,
their way out of that fence to get me, but I'm like, if they did break out, their whole nervous system would be different because they don't have the
yeah, oh,
barrier.
that's interesting. And speaking of running, one time this is a long time ago, I was running through this neighborhood and there was a dog in a yard, no fence. It was vicious and it started running after me and like my heart sank and I was like, fuck. They had an electric fence and it like stopped immediately at the or it was like really well trained, but I think it was an electric fence, but it like stopped immediately at the border. And I was like, holy shit.
Did you almost, like, have a heart attack? Oh my god.
Yes, because it was, like, unavoidable. Because this vicious dog was just charging at me, and I'm like, "I can't outrun this." Plus, I think I was, like, frozen because 'cause I'm watching it all unfold, and then it just stopped.
Wow, I wonder if it was just really well trained.
I don't know, because I guess the reason I brought that up is because you mentioned barrier aggression, which I have heard of that, but there was no visible barrier, so why was it so vicious?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know, and
that's curious.
I didn't hang around to
Yeah,
investigate.
Yeah, I started to understand how, like, barrier aggression happens in humans too a little bit, like, how you can feel so unsafe if you feel boxed in
Yeah.
somewhere. And I was like, "Okay, well, that I kinda get that," and so I feel a lot less afraid in general. The 2 things I've been working on, like, as I continue to, like, expand my container is, dogs and, driving on the highway. I'm okay with most
Oh,
highways, but we have one that's like, cause we live, like, where I-40 and I-35 meet, so it's like a crazy populated area for semis, and I was raised around people like, the women in my family were terrified of driving, like, they did it, but they'd be freaking out the whole time. I have so many fucking traumatic memories with both my grandma and my mom at the driver's seat. So, I've been a nervous driver my whole life. I
yeah.
refuse to be one of those people who, like, gives up their ability to drive because of their fear, but I also live by a turnpike, so I take that the most. Like, anywhere I can get to from the turnpike, I do, and I do
Yeah.
avoid I-40 because it's just so many semis, but I've been trying to, like, work on that, like, where I'm not just seeing
Actually,
some
most
final
semi drivers are
destination thing.
safe. It's the people, like, trying to weave in and out of them that are not.
Yes. Well, I get pissed unreasonably, but, like, when they're drifting over into my lane,
Yeah.
stuff like that, that I'm
Because
like, "I just wanna get around you, and I feel too scared to go around you even," and I cannot be boxed in. Like, if there's a bunch of them,
oh, agree. That drives me
I'm
nuts.
like, "Oh, no," because man, on a windy day, they start leaning towards each other, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" But
Yeah.
that's a trauma I have from my mom driving us one time where she's like, "They're about to fall over on us."
No wonder you think that.
Exactly. And then I'm like, "My poor kids, I've done the same thing to them." But my middle one, not a nervous driver at all, wish he was a little more nervous, if I'm being honest. The older one, I think he's gotten past any of his nerves because I learned really quickly, I'm not who you need as a driver's ed instructor at all. We made it, like, one time with my oldest. The middle one, I did mostly fine in, like, a high school parking lot, but
Yeah.
I one time we were driving in the neighborhood and I'll just be honest, I was way too high in the back seat and just had a total meltdown and was like, "You got to take me home. You got to take me home."
When you learned to drive, did you go to formal driver's ed? Like, how did that work for you?
We had a driver's ed in, like, as a high school class when I was in high school.
Okay, so my high school had a driver's ed class, but it was only offered during summer school, and
Mm.
you had to be 15 to take driver's ed, and my birthday's in June.
Yeah.
So I didn't wanna, like, wait an entire year, so there was, like, this third-party driver's ed school that you could go to, so I went to that, which was fine, but I remember that my first time on the highway, my instructor used to be a semi driver, and as a young female, and this is so weird in hindsight, because 'cause I'm 15 years old, he was telling me, he was like, "Never drive right next to a semi driver because you, being a young female, they might like that a little bit too much." So he's like, never be right beside them, like always be out of like vantage point, basically.
'Cause they
Isn't
might
that crazy?
stare at you too much?
Yeah, they would probably, I think he was insinuating they might start masturbating.
Oh, I didn't
And
even get that.
I was like, okay, noted. And the weird part about
No.
it was he used to be a semi driver.
So
So
you're
in my
saying,
mind, I would
like,
say,
that's what you would do? Because I
yeah.
don't
So
know
in my
very
mind,
many drivers that would.
yeah. So I was like, oh, you're telling me you used to do
I'm
this.
so happy that I'm stuck in a fucking car with you, brother. The
But
fuck?
now as an adult, I'm like, I'm glad he told me that because now I do not drive next to semi drivers. But it was also just so weird.
Yeah, I've never in my life thought that that would happen.
Well,
So
I
that's
think about
crazy
it
to
every
me.
time now.
I bet you
For that
fucking do, and
reason.
I'm never gonna not think about it too.
There's one more thing to worry about when
God
driving on the
damn.
highway. Although
I
that's
do
relatively
what you're gonna
minor.
do,
And
brother. I mean, if you wanna put
yeah.
your life at risk for me, that's fine. Shit.
Also, that was in a time, I feel like porn is so widely available
True.
now. Like that,
Yeah.
that
Why
would be
would you
so
do that?
sad if semi drivers had to still resort to doing that.
Exactly.
Although they might.
Some might, well, he obviously did, my god. Um, that's what I did with my boys is I put them through the third party driver's ed thing, and we have a really good one here, and, I mean, honestly, I don't think the middle one would have passed without it, but they do they have 3 two-hour drives, and then if you pay extra, they can have an hour drive right before the test, and so they can't
Mm,
drive the same course, but real close, and then
that's actually a good
they
idea.
come back
Yeah.
to the station, and then they go in, get back in the car with a different, like, person because it can't be the same, like, person that just took you on the one-hour
Yeah.
drive, and then boom, but you're, like, relaxed, you know what I mean? Like, it's the exact same car you've been driving for the last hour, and they all are Toyota Corollas, so, like, you're used to driving those cars, you know what I mean?
Ah, nice.
And so
Yeah. Because
we
even as
did
an
a lot of
adult,
that.
it's confusing when you get in a different car.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I think about that too. I mean, thankfully, I was used to my grandma's car, but not that much. I mean, she really didn't let me drive that much. I mean, she really didn't. So I'm surprised that I was able to pass mine. But I did do the driver's ed. I never drove on the highway. I was lucky because it was there. You could take it a whole semester, and it was either fall or spring. I took my permit test right there in class, barely passed, but just right there, and so, like, I'm at school one day and I get my permit, like, it was just so easy, and it wasn't long after my year that they quit well, yeah, within 3 years probably of when I took it, I think it was probably after I graduated, that very next year, they stopped offering it at school.
Interesting. Yeah, and I don't even know if it's offered at schools anymore because I think that's more of an our generation thing, but
Yeah,
it may
they didn't
differ
wanna
by
pay for
location as
it
well.
because you gotta
Yeah,
provide
that's
the
probably
teacher,
it.
even though it was
Yeah.
just coaches that did it.
I would never want that job. Can you imagine being a driver's ed
Hell
instructor?
no.
That
Hell no. Well,
it's
so one of the times that, Jake came back from his instructor, they come to the door and they, tell you how it went and whatever, and, I'm socially awkward sometimes, and, like, this guy was very socially awkward, so us together, it wasn't going really well, so I just start, like, talking about stuff to, like, break the
yeah,
tension,
which
Um
makes it more awkward.
yeah, a little, but then I was like, "So, I was like, "Did he make you nervous?" or some joke or whatever. He's like, "No, but this kid that's in there right now that I'm about to go with makes me really nervous." And so we started laughing. I'm like, "Have really? Why?" And he's like, "Well, blah blah blah." I don't remember what he said, but I was like, "Ooh, what's the craziest thing?" And I don't remember what he said, but some of these driver's ed instructors have been through some crazy stuff. Like
Uh,
they have to be using that brake over there.
yeah, that is an adrenaline rush I'm not interested in.
No, why would you do that? I mean, I think some of it is because, like, the owner of this, driver's ed place is really nice. He got through to both of my boys about, like, "This is serious. Like, you're on the road, and you have to take this responsibility seriously." Showed them all these, videos of people dying from drunk
Yeah.
driving and all the thing, but he got into it because of an accident that he and a friend were in as teenagers and the friend died. And so
I
he
bet
tells
that's the
the
motivation
story.
for a lot
Yes.
of these instructors.
And so I think that he finds people that are willing to go through this hell with children to make sure that they get the right skills. And they really like it was also just nice because uh both of my boys it was nice for them to be around men that were kind and you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
that always made me
yeah.
really nervous about just some of those toxic ass men that think it's fun to tease boys and, do
Yeah.
that, and I was just really glad that they were like, "Yeah, he's really cool," or, and they really bonded with all the people they drove with, so I just think anyone that your kids can be around that are positive is such a good thing, you know?
Yeah, I didn't even, like, consider that as a dynamic to being a boy mom. Because 'Cause you're
Mhm.
right, like, there are men who are, like, make fun of boys who cry and all that stuff.
Absolutely, like, well, first of all, I don't know if this is universal or just, like, Oklahoma and Texas, but if you put your child in a pee-wee sport here, and it's not just boys, girls too, but pee-wee sports bring out the devil in fucking parents, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
And you'll have moms and dads just like, there's no crying in baseball, kind of shit. And they're like 5 years old. Like, they're gonna cry, bitch.
Oh
What?
my god.
Yeah, it's crazy. But some of the men especially, like, it was nuts, and it just kind of put a fear and I think too, because I grew up with 2 brothers, watching them really struggle with interactions with men because we were not around very many men at all, and
Yeah.
that was something that I hadn't even really understood until a few years ago. I had 2 uncles. One was very quiet and barely even spoke to us when he came over. It was obvious he didn't come to see us. He came to see his mother and
Mhm.
we were annoying. You know what I mean? Very
Yeah.
kind in my adulthood, but also still just very quiet. And then my aunt was married to somebody, well, I guess 2 aunts married husbands that were around for a long time. One was very kind, but they also did the teasy thing that my entire family did, so not safe, I wouldn't say. Like, we didn't feel
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you're gonna be kind," you know? One
Yeah.
uncle was really, really kind, but also pretty teasy, and I just don't like that, you know?
Oh, like, I feel like you're unraveling some of my trauma. Like, I had uncles that were teasy, and even my grandpa on my dad's side, I remember being like that, and I hated it. And I
Yes.
think that you just described how I felt. It felt unsafe because it's like I felt like I had to go into the interaction with my defenses up.
Yeah, and I think about how many family gatherings were like that because we had a very big family and they all gathered at my house because I lived with my grandma. So, like,
Yeah.
everyone was there and there was nowhere safe to escape to because you also weren't allowed to put up boundaries
Mm.
around your room or anything like that, or else it caused all this turmoil within the family. Like, you think you love her more because you let her, blah, 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 and you wouldn't let it was a whole thing all the time, just so much enmeshment
Yeah.
with our little codependent asses. And yeah, I have talked a lot on my show about the trauma of being the center of the bullying in my family because 'cause they'd pick a kid every
Mm.
holiday or gathering, it was gonna be one, and I don't know how they chose, but if it whoever came in to bother them, I guess, like, and
Yeah.
everyone is just fucking on you, but it's all just teasing, right? And you're too sensitive, and that's where I was told that the first time, and I mean, I'm little bitty, 6 years old, everybody's got
Yeah.
something funny to say, you know? It's so fucking irritating to think about.
Yeah, I feel like that's not talked about enough because teasing really is
It
bullying when it's
is.
unwanted. Yeah.
Exactly, and especially when you're asking nicely at first, and then I just became belligerent, and that is so much the reason I was such a belligerent teen in instances
Yeah.
like that, because I'm like, "I fucking asked you for 10 years now to stop making these kinds of jokes, and it's not fucking funny to me. So,
Yeah.
why are you still saying this?" And it was always even into adulthood, it's just so funny, and I'm like, "I don't think that's funny," and the gaslighting that would happen
Yeah.
around that.
'Cause then you're too
That's
emotional.
uh-huh.
'Cause
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, now I look back and I'm like, yeah, I would never let somebody say shit like that to my child, let alone be the person saying it.
Yeah.
But in some ways, I'm so glad it happened to me so that I don't perpetuate that because I think that used to be, it's the same as everything else. If you're not learning how to connect authentically with people, and this can be like, our little final note for the day. If you're not learning how to connect authentically on a level of like love, compassion, understanding, where you're talking about real shit, you're just going to talk shit and complain and find a little child in your family to bully. I mean, that is what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
I completely agree with that.
It's just so
And then
frustrating for people to
also
not
just,
see
like,
it.
the gossip that happens within family systems is, like, so damaging.
Oh my God, the gossip, because it first of all, I mean, I was a very willing participant, don't play, because you're just talking shit about whoever's not in the room, right?
Right.
But like, man, you don't feel safe at all because if you share, every member of your family is going to know about it and it'll be twisted along the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the stupidest example to even give, but one time this was in adulthood. I told my aunt that someone we both knew someone else. Like, I made it very clear. She told me someone else she knows was considering naming her child Vagina. Okay?
No.
Yes, she did. And I was like, "Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, because what do I do with my family? Gossip. So now, what else are we going to talk about? Oh, you know who
Oh,
told
yeah.
me she knows someone?" It was a that thing, right? The next time I see one of her children, he's like, "I heard that
Yeah.
she, not someone she knew, absolutely named her kid Vagina." And I'm like, "No, her friend was considering it. I never said it was her, and I never said she named her child that, but that was the way it all went, like, every single fucking
Yeah.
thing, and it was so annoying, but, like, I talk about this so much with clients, like, if those are the conversations you're not having the right conversations, and there's a reason for that. Like,
Yeah.
this is the fucking highlight of my life, to just have conversations about shit that matters. Like, I don't want to talk about things that don't matter anymore. You know what I mean? And yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we talk about nails and we talk about whatever, but there's themes of realness in a conversation about nails when we're talking about our perfectionism, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or talking about like even understanding more psychological concepts like the sunk cost fallacy, even that was touched on a
Yeah.
little bit. So like, to me, all of like, it just matters in a different way. And I don't want to say that other connections don't matter, but it's not real for sure. All of those conversations I had gossiping weren't real.
Yeah, it's a fake way of bonding, really.
And that's what we're doing. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to make people more aware of is that's not bonding. It's just, like you're just it's almost kind of a form of escapism because you're so uncomfortable in social situations that you know that the easy fruit is to go, "So did you hear about so and so?"
Yeah, I like that you use the word escapism because I feel like that's when you're not focusing on yourself and you are focused on things outside of yourself, I truly think you are escaping. Like some people use drugs or extreme things, but some people gossip or do petty things.
Yes, exactly. It's certainly an avoidant tendency
Yeah. I
because,
like that you frame it that way because that's exactly what it is.
yeah, and like some people feel like, well, my child feels that I over pathologize things, but I'm like, it's all pathology. All of it. Every
I
single
think you
fucking
have
thing we
to
do
though.
has a root. Every
Yeah,
fucking thing we do.
because I'm not going to say I never gossip, but when I do, I stop and ask myself, "Why am I doing this?" And it
Mhm.
usually is because you're, like, avoiding something or you're trying to bond with the other person,
Yeah,
but
you gotta you there was a moment of silence that you feel awkward about, and you don't know how to,
there's
like,
always
step
a
over
reason,
that.
and it's a
Yes.
deeper reason.
Mhm. Yeah, and also, why am I judging to even be in this gossip circle? Why am I judging? And I know why, because I'm
Yeah.
judging myself. I know the answer to that. I may not know
Yeah.
how every time. It may take a minute to get back to, like, well, why would I judge that in them? How does that connect to me?
Yeah,
What
because
it
it's usually the exact same thing in you.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I'm committed to that understanding, and so I will always figure it out, like, late like, there's some people that I'm like, I haven't figured it out yet," but, I know it's there, and so, yeah, I don't wanna also I just don't wanna put that energy out, and I work really hard because I used to be a great gossip. I work really hard not to. I'm not gonna say I never do, but, like, I try really fucking hard not to because this is not what I wanna put in the world, and it's just not the right kind of I don't that doesn't light me up. I feel drained after conversations
Yeah,
like
you
that.
don't feel good afterwards for
Mm-mm.
sure.
No, absolutely. I feel lit up after just an hour talking to you or recording for with someone else. You know what I mean? Like lit up,
Yeah.
just so happy, just like, yay, okay, on to the next thing, whatever, energized, like I could
Yeah,
clean. But like after like a session of gossiping, it's just like, all
and
right, well, I'm gonna
honestly
go rest. I think this may be one of the reasons introverts I'm using that term just because I hear them say this a lot, and I mean, I have also had that. But why they feel so fucking drained after all social interactions. Like, watch your social interactions, see what they are, because anything can drain you if it's like not putting good into the world.
yeah, and a lot of people, like, I don't know if you've ever had conversations like this with your clients, but they're not sure if their friends are toxic or not because it can be very subtle, right?
Mhm,
But
mhm.
I always say that, like, you can tell by how you feel because if even if something it's not like a totally bad feeling, you may just feel like something's off, but basically anything other than feeling lit up and good is a sign to consider. And not saying you don't have to
100%.
be friends with them or whatever, but just again, this is why I don't think you can like overanalyze anything
Sure.
because all of those are signals to like why didn't I feel good and then figure out what kind of boundaries you have to have with that person or if you have to remove them completely.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, why didn't I feel good? And so often, it's funny that we started this conversation with me making fun of my Leo moon ass, but so often I did make myself a victim in conversations, like not talking about the real thing because I was afraid to be seen, whatever.
Yes,
So yeah, I mean, I think you can find accountability in any of those situations as well. But if you get to the bottom of it and you realize you're making attempts to connect authentically and this person's just not meeting you, well, maybe you just limit the types of interactions you have with them.
exactly.
Okay. Well, any final words?
No, I think that's a good place to end it.
I think so too. Okay, before we go, can we attempt a 1, 2, 3 unquiet soul again?
Yeah, I'm ready this time.
Okay, ready? Oh, wait, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and this is the cadence. Unquiet soul.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Unquiet
Unquiet
soul.
soul.
One more time. Okay, ready? Unquiet
Unquiet
soul.
soul.
Angie?
I'm trying to watch your hand, but I think there's a delay.
Yeah, probably. Okay, you count down. I'll just go with you.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Unquiet
Unquiet. You're doing it too
soul.
slow.
I was going at your cadence. Okay, let's go fast. 1, 2, 3. Unquiet.
Unquiet soul. Okay, well, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Thank you. You too.